I call this steak Inman or steak Inman because basically I took Vincent Price's recipe, or the recipe he published. He was known for his horror stories, but he also published this wonderful cookbook. And I basically took one of the recipes out of there and, of course, in the American way, changed everything about it. So he published this in 1965, and it's named Steak Chevalot for the chef at the Hotel de la Poste, which, by the way, is still there. First, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Get that started before you go on to the next step. Now, the book calls for 1 tablespoon of shallots, but I go at least double that amount. Chop up a lot of shallot into very small pieces. Now I use Cabernet Sauvignon, and I picked this up at discount at the local wine store. And I find that's a more reasonable wine to use. We like it. The recipe calls for Hardy Burgundy because the hotel was in the Burgundy region of France. But you can't buy Burgundy wine around here in small bottles. You get something like a gallon, and that's way too much. So we found that Cabernet Sauvignon works pretty well as a substitute. And I'm opening it up here so it can breathe. Now, when I first made this, looked this up in the recipe book and made it, I didn't know what a roux was. But a roux is equal parts butter and flour, and you just mix it up until it's a paste. You just keep pressing it together until it becomes a paste. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to make a roux. At the same time, we will want to melt some butter. So we'll do a nice big pat of butter and put it in the pan and let that begin to melt. Another thing I changed about the recipe is a recipe book calls for petit filet, but I find that we like sirloins better, so we've got a couple of petite sirloins, and we will cook those 4 minutes on a side. And once they are cooked, we'll put them in the oven to keep them warm, and if you like your meat less rare, you can leave it in there for a while and cook it a little bit more. Also, I started my side dish about now. We can pour off the excess grease, and then we'll be ready to make the sauce. We'll We'll start with a half cup of our Cabernet Sauvignon. Pour that into the pan and then add our shallots. Once the wine has boiled down to about half its consistency, we will mix in the roux. With the roux mixed in, we add a splash more wine, and at this point the recipe calls for another tablespoon of butter to be mixed in. I don't always do that when I'm only making 2. Gotta watch out for burns. That plate was hot. We simply pour the sauce onto the steaks. The more butter you use, the thinner the sauce will be. The less butter, the thicker. I made some instant brown rice medley, mixed it up with the white rice to make a bicolor, nice side dish. I love rice, so I made a lot of it.